Ujo, anin, dinemagnituk, Gaani akinane, digo, kinyo, dotem, saging, donji. Chibo, abijituana ni zigi gitatwim stigoji. Mi gwachminan dina mayaga, kadi bending madi when me way marito. Mi gwachken dina, miteake, winaniska mi get kenage go on and gain in winter chon dad is young. Buxendan das kenin when the mission set okay, Kevin all kind of yacht and son dan maktibi chigo on in Chicago on. Kenin chigo wind magean on again in each woman the man. Good morning, my dear relatives. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be given this opportunity to share a few words with you this morning. The issue of climate change should be of great concern to all of us. Climate change is about human change, a change of heart. The root cause of accelerated climate change is the loss of our moral and ethical imperative, the failure to implement our moral responsibilities that show respect for the earth. This has to change. We have to become a much more caring, compassionate people. If we reflect for a moment where we find ourselves as a species, we will see that we have not evolved spiritually. We still find ourselves separated from each other. We have become so materialistic. This has brought about a society so much in fear, with so much mental illness, so much anger and depression. And yet, we have all these comforts. Essentially, we have become a species out of control, obsessed with extracting life from Mother Earth. We have been looking at the earth as a non-living entity that could be owned and controlled for our own selfish purposes. We have allowed ourselves to be influenced by greed, which comes at the expense of the earth. We must have a change of heart if we're going to survive as a species. Where is the hope for humanity? The real hope for humanity lies in the hands of the people of the heart. The people of the heart are a people that have a true spirit of kindness. From the inspiration of their hearts, they know how to give. They know how to share. How to have courage to always do the right thing. The people of the heart have a love for all humanity, for all of nature, and for the land. Our visionaries prophesied what we are facing today. They warned us, what you do to the earth, you will do to yourself. We are now feeling what we have done to the land. But their prophecy was also of hope, that the earth would give birth to a new life once she had been cleansed from whatever was destroying her, a new life founded on the values of peace. As much as the original nations have been negatively impacted by the genocide, there are those amongst our nations, our knowledge keepers, who have survived with their identity intact, keeping faith in a way of life that can become a foundation for the world we want to build. To the Indigenous, we have always had a connection to the spirit world. Our dreams and our visions guided us to live in balance with all of life. It is in the spirit world we have been able to access the higher intelligence of knowledge. The spirit world is concerned about sacred laws, values of how we should live and behave as human beings. We continue to rely on this connection. If we reflect for a moment on the foundation of the structures man has created, they lack a moral and ethical foundation. In other words, they lack spirit. Putting spirit in its most simple context, this means having a spirit of kindness. Having kindness, we show and act with respect, love, courage, honesty, wisdom, humility, and truth. The real power is in the hands of the people of the heart, the people who are showing that kindness. Through their kindness, the people of the heart draw a spiritual connection, creating an alliance with the forces of spirit and nature itself. What is missing in the discussion regarding the challenges we face is the power of the earth itself. The people of the heart hold a balance of power in alignment with the spirit and the land. Nature's laws are self-enforcing. Nature's laws operate on the principle of balance and harmony. The real power is in the hands of Mother Earth. She will dictate the future for all life. The sooner we learn this, the sooner we can show more respect for the earth. Climate change has now become an issue of survival. It is time to place our energies into preparation. There are no forces of man that will be able to stop this cleansing of the earth. The earth must be cleansed so prophecy can be fulfilled to give birth to the new life. Nature will allow a transitional phase for those who choose to walk that new life. This is not a message to create fear, rather a message of encouragement to change the way we are all behaving to a lifestyle grounded in values of kindness for the earth. As a people, we have a vision of a new world, the new life that is coming. This vision is grounded on 7 sacred laws we have been given to carry and share as the original people, represented by 7 animals. These are spiritual laws and universal to humankind. They are laws that cannot be legislated. They must be freely embraced by those who want peace in this world. With this vision, we can create real community, living in the values that are sustainable, that show kindness for the land. We must work together to lay down these sacred laws as a foundation for a new life. We are all challenged to find a way of life that gives us our spirit back, as the Indigenous spirit is what gives meaning to creation, to our life. Each of us have a spirit that defines our true identity as a human being. It is very difficult for many to understand that part of us we call the spirit. As people of the heart, we must support our children to engage in rites of passage, preparing our youth for the future, for learning their true identity. For our ancestors, integral to having a spiritual connection were rites of passages for the youth. For a girl, becoming a woman. For a boy, in becoming a man. When the girl bled for the first time, she was taken to the grandmothers to receive the sacred teachings in becoming a woman. The women are the life givers of our nations, and they are the carriers of the water. The young boys were taken on a vision quest where they would fast for a dream or a vision that would give them their meaning and purpose and guide them in their life as men. The men are the protectors of life and the keepers of the sacred fires of the First Nation. I believe our responsibility as a people is to share with those who have arrived in our homeland why we love the land so much. This is my intention here today, to make an appeal to join us in our efforts to take care of the earth. We begin by teaching our children, telling them the truth, giving them maximum opportunity to get to know and feel the land. Then there will be a change. This type of education must be led by Indigenous knowledge keepers of the land, on the land. We need to build a true community based on the values that spirituality unites us. We have to stop being divided and separated from each other. We need to live close together as a community, knowing we will need each other to survive the cleansing happening on our planet. Each person is being called to bring forward her or his unique gifts that will serve the new earth. A community must be rooted in the land, relying on the earth for our sustenance and working with the laws of the earth, learning how to survive on the land in its most simplest context. Our biggest challenge will be to leave behind the things that are not in alignment with nature. This change will not happen by the masses. The change will be led by a few who have had the courage to disengage from the lifestyle that doesn't honor the earth. Our current lifestyle has not been able to give us peace and has not been able to bring us into harmony with the earth. If we are going to survive as a species, we must return to the original instructions that are in alignment with spirit and the natural laws of the land. Indigenous people have a role, and it's time now for us to come forward to support the new life that is coming. I want to thank all of you here this morning that have arrived on our what is considered the center of Turtle Island. And it has a lot of significance being the center of the continent. Our visionaries had talked about these times that we are in today. And they had prophesied that this day would come when the original free and independent peoples of this land would be propelled into a movement, a spiritual movement, that would be nothing less than an awakening that we need to come to terms with the way that we are behaving as human beings. As Indigenous peoples, we have survived on our homeland for thousands and thousands of years, connected to the spirit that has always given us the dreams and the visions that we needed in order to understand the sacredness of life itself. And I always welcome these opportunities to be able to share the words of my people, to share the words that I've heard in the lodges of our people, from those that have remained faithful and loyal to our way of life. And again, I believe that it is the wish of the Great Spirit that we will come to fulfill our destiny in our homeland, and that is to be a part in working and finding resolution to the challenges that we face in our world today. So thank you very much for listening. Miigwech. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Bojo anin dine magnetuk nigani akinane digo kinyon do dem saging donji. First of all, I want to acknowledge the invitation that was made for me to be here with my colleague. And it's been really refreshing for me to be able to hear the discussions that were happening around this table. As Indigenous people, we've always had a major concern on what we see is happening to the earth. Because we are a people that are very close to the land. And when we are able to see people like yourself, having these kind of discussions, raising the bar of concern to a higher level, certainly the public needs to be made more aware of the seriousness of this challenge that we're all facing. I want to acknowledge the young people of Quebec, for finding one way of getting the government, to address the seriousness of climate change when they filed a lawsuit yesterday, and making the federal government responsible. And even though that there is a mindset that the government, is going to be the answer for us, but that's not necessarily true. I think the government has a shared responsibility, to restore what has been done to the land, and to put the proper investments, to slow down this change that is inevitable. It's going to happen. We've been seeing it for a long time. Our dreams and visions have always guided us as a people, and we're able to, to see ahead, like things that are possible that may happen. And young people today, they're beginning to show, their seriousness that they have about their future. I remember meeting some young people, and then they said, you people are always calling us the future leaders. And they said, well, we're the leaders today. Challenging, today's leadership in terms of, is the current leadership, really out there to protect the future, for the young people. So they do have, some really legitimate concerns that need to be addressed. And what I see and witnessed here these past 2 days, it's inspiring for me. It's refreshing for me. Because this is something that we've always said as Indigenous people, that we have to take better care, of the earth. We can't continue to live and walk down this path that is destroying, the environment. And how do we adapt, to climate change is the big question. There should be no doubt that we are in for some real changes. We must rely on each other in sharing our gifts, our knowledge, to help us survive these challenges, these challenging times. As part of adaptation initiatives, we must be prepared to reflect on our attitudes of how we are treating each other and how we were treating the earth. We need to ground ourselves in values that truly respect the earth. There is a need for a clear vision of how we see the future. And as Indigenous peoples, we have survived on our homeland for thousands and thousands of years, living a way of life that was very much connected to what we consider the higher power of knowledge that is found within the spiritual reality that we follow. Most everything that reflects our identity as a people have come through dreams, have come through visions, have come through prophecies, that our visionaries and prophets had. And they talked of this time. And what I like about the prophecy that's shared within our lodges is that, yes, we're going to go through some changes because we need to learn. We need to learn that we cannot continue with this kind of behavior that we see, that love is not reciprocated back to the earth for what she gives us. And what the earth gives, it gives for everybody. It's not only for a certain country. It's not only for a certain people. Everything that the earth gives and shares belongs to all human beings, belongs to all life. And we have to understand that within the human family, that we are all related, we're all connected, we're all brothers and sisters. And that's something that we need to become more aware of and acknowledge that even more, that we are brothers and sisters. We're connected and we're related. And the young people need to be given an opportunity to experience the land in the way that we have experienced it and continue to experience it as we try to find resolve to our own challenges that we have in our communities. Because at the end of the day, it is going to be the earth that's going to determine all our future. One thing we know for sure that is said by the knowledge keepers and the wisdom keepers of our people, that the Great Spirit will never allow man to destroy his creation, which we enjoy, that is called Mother Earth. He will never allow that to happen. But Mother Earth, being so loving, has allowed us to misbehave for a long time. But as a true mother, a mother will say, enough is enough. You need to learn. And it's these forces that we're seeing being reflected right now are the forces of the earth itself, because these are the elements of life. The fire, the water, the tornadoes, and all of these, that's a force of nature itself. And these forces are trying to talk to us, but are we really listening to what they're trying to tell us? The animals are dying. The animals are sick because what we have done to the environment. When I saw, those hundreds of whales beached, I thought to myself, what is the root cause of all of this destruction that we're seeing? And it's because of us as human beings, because we have disrespected the earth and we have not followed the laws that nature, provides for us on how we should have a really good life. And if we're going to confront this challenge of climate change, then we're going to have to consider a change of lifestyle. We can't continue to live in this abundance, while we see other members of the human family suffering, children that are in need of basic necessities of food and water, and we continue to allow that to happen. I believe that here in Canada, that we can set up a real leadership for the rest of the world on how we should live and behave as human beings, how we take care of each other, all those. We don't shut the door on people that are out there trying to find a place that they can live in to survive. And I look back, in our history, when our brothers and sisters first arrived, our people welcomed the people. Our people shared everything that they could so that the newcomers could survive. And we're going to do it again. And what we're going to do is we're going to share the best part of who we are, which is our identity, who we are, who are Indigenous people. What do Indigenous people believe? What do Indigenous people have? We are a people that is rich in knowledge. We may not be wealthy, like in a financial sense, even though we do need some support there. But the richness of the knowledge, I believe, is what we can contribute in creating, and finding a resolve to the challenges that we have. And not only should we look at what is wrong, but let us look at what is the right thing to do. What kind of a world do we see in the future for all of us? And it's going to require sacrifices on all of us. We're going to have to let go. And the more we're able to let go, the more free we become. We know that as a people because we've had to live marginalized in our homeland, living in an environment of poverty. And yet we're surrounded by such an abundance of richness. And yet, we believe that our great Creator has a plan for us. And our destiny here in our homeland is to help lead this awakening that is needed in humanity today. That we have a voice that I believe, that deserves to be heard. We have all kinds of initiatives, that we're discussing, within the lodges of our people. Because we have so many challenges also within our environment. But our faith has always been in the Spirit that we're going to find a way past this. We've survived some of the darkest times already, and we're well on our way to recover now. And as we recover, we ask people like yourself to join us, as we show you why we love the land so much. Be with us for a while and take part in some of the initiatives that we have. There was a sentence here that I picked up here that came right across and really hit me. And it says, incremental progress is no match for accelerating climate change. And that is absolutely true. We can't put a Band-Aid on a sore that's wide open because, the earth has been damaged to a degree, that we really need to seriously think of stopping the way that we're treating the earth. Again, I want to thank all of you, and what I heard. And what I did when I first opened, yesterday morning is I always say my language. I am bilingual. I speak English and I speak Anishinaabe. I'm bilingual in my homeland. And it's very important for me to speak my language because it's my identity. Because I have to show the world that in spite of laws that were there to prevent us from speaking our language and using our gifts, we are still here. But we've reached, this point in our time, always on relying on the Spirit to do things in a good way, not to be angry, not to hate people, for all the wrongs that have been done to us. We cannot take ourselves down to that level to hate someone, because the power is really in the spirit of being able to show kindness, for each other, to love. And my grandmother was good at that. She would say, no matter what people say about you, gossip about you, you got to love them. That's the only way they're going to learn. And I remember one elder speaking. They said, the only way we can change the world is we gotta kill them with love, whatever that means. But the Spirit is what's really important for us as Indigenous people. And when I opened yesterday, when I spoke, I said a prayer. I said a prayer in my language. And I began by offering gratitude to the great mystery, to the great Creator. We haven't got the intellectual capacity to understand the fullness of the power of this great mystery. The best we can do is feel it in our heart that there is an existence of a greater reality in the spiritual world. And in our world, it is the Great Spirit that has given us this beautiful life that we are living, this beautiful world that He has given us. He has given us all of that. And I offer words of gratitude. And there's a word that we say in our language, Manito Ginanakumen. What does that mean? Ginanakumen means that my gratitude is coming from my heart and the love that I have for you, Great Spirit, for all that you have given us as human beings. You have blessed Indigenous people with so many gifts. Now we want to share those gifts with everyone. And also giving thanks to Mother Earth. And we say it in my language, Kinanakumin Miteke, which means thank you, kind Mother Earth, for all that you have given us. That all you continue to give us in spite of what we do to you, you still give us. You still provide what we need in order to be able to live and to survive. Our challenge as human beings is to share that abundance with the rest of the world. To show the world that there is a vision that we have found together that can bring peace into this world. And I know we can do it. I believe it. My heart believes it. That there can be peace in the world. And we could be the people here that could set the model of what that peace can be in the world. Because we have politics that is so divisive. You know, it's polarized all the time. There never seems to be a common concern as to people working together. And I think climate change is going to force many of us to come to the table, whether we like it or not, for the sake of our own survival and for the sake of the survival of our own children. And when I offered, you know, the words to the Spirit in my language, I called upon, you know, the Spirit of the four directions that represent the balance of life. Because in our world, there are spirits that sit in every direction. They take care of the gifts that come from each of those directions. And I invoked them in prayer to come here for these 2 days. I said, come and touch us. Come and inspire us. Come and let us, you know, speak from our heart and whatever we need to say. And I've been feeling really good, you know, for these past 2 days. I felt the kindness and the respect from all of you. And I really want to thank you for that. And I hope that, you know, that my voice here in these past 2 days will also lend support to, you know, to the knowledge keepers of my people who are willing to participate, allow us to participate, you know, in the discussions that are concerned for all of us, all of us. It's our children. To do anything less than we're wasting our time. All our efforts should be based, motivated for our children. What are we going to do to ensure that there is a legacy, you know, that is left for our children, that there is a way that that would help them, you know, to see how sacred that life is and how sacred that the land is. I hope that, you know, one day that, you know, that our people, particularly the knowledge keepers that have remained faithful to their language, their ceremonies, and their way of life, that's what's missing in the discussions right now. Is that it's been minimized to politicians. Politicians don't necessarily know. It's the ones that have been on the ground. Because there is a silent movement sweeping this country right now. It's a silent movement. And what that silent movement is, there's many, many people, you know, that are beginning to make the pilgrimage to the sacred sites, to their own places of, you know, of spiritual comfort that they need to go. As Indigenous people, many of our people are returning back to the lodges, which they were prevented by law from participating in any of those lodges, but that movement is happening. And that's where the real leadership is going to emerge. It's from those that have claimed their heart to be what would influence them in their life. I've traveled around the world and I've met some of the best people that I've ever met. And I remember going on a fast in the mountains, and the Spirit said to me, now go and be with the people of the heart. And I didn't understand what that was for the longest time, but today I do. The people of the heart are the ones that show kindness, and they know how to give, and they know how to share. And they are in every culture. They are in every uniqueness of the family that exists. There's always someone that's really good. And I've been so lucky in my life to meet many of those people of the heart. And I know that that you are people of the heart. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so concerned about what is happening to the environment. Because you must have people of the heart that show love for the earth, that you give that love back to the earth. And you're sure that you really care, that we really care, that we will do everything, to act as a voice for her, that we will come to understand, that there is a way that we can relate to the earth. There was a comment that was made by McKenna's communication person, and I wrote it down here. I saw that this morning. And what the director of communications of McKenna's department said, we have a serious plan to protect the environment and to grow the economy. It sounds like a paradox. It's, like, it depends what kind of economy that they're talking about. And I think all that needs to be discussed. As we develop initiatives, to support Mother Earth, then there's going to have to be a development of a new economy, an economy that is protecting the earth. There's got to be a way in order for us to be able to achieve that. Because the economy right now is based on the extraction of resources from the earth that is polluting the waters that are, all of that. We have to change, the way that we have designed our structures, that they have values, sacred values to whatever we create. So thank you, all of you, for coming into the center of Turtle Island to come visit for a few days. The snow that you're seeing, I always remember one elder saying, when people were complaining it's snowing, and the elders say, let it snow. If it's snowing, let it snow. And to us, that when the snow is falling, it's bringing a blanket for Mother Earth to rest. That's nature's blanket, the snow that is falling. And if we have that kind of perspective, I think it's a little much easier for us to walk around while the snow is falling. So thank you very much. Miigwech.